Hello everyone, welcome back to the Alabama Woodworker. My name is Hui. In this video, I start a new build series where I construct a Greene and Greene inspired sit-stand desk using a commercially available electric adjustable desk frame by Flexispot. Let's take a look at the desk frame and its construction to better understand the building constraints of the desk. First off, a quick disclaimer. Flexispot provided me with their 3-stage electric adjustable standing desk frame, and in return they asked me to design a high-end desktop and document the build. I'll leave a link in the description to their website and an Amazon link if you choose to purchase the desk frame. However, I am not an Amazon affiliate, so I get no monetary benefit from any purchases through Amazon or through Flexispot. The desk frame was very well packaged with plenty of styrofoam for protection. The hardware was clearly labeled and the instructions were easy to follow. Each foot attaches to its respective leg assembly using 4 machine screws. The telescoping crossbar expands from 43.3 inches to 70.9 inches to fit tabletops ranging from 47.2 inches to 78.7 inches in length and 23.6 inches to 31.5 inches in depth. The desktop I constructed measures 24 inches by 64 inches. The crossbar and end braces are also attached using 4 machine screws. The control box and wiring are run through the crossbar, and handset is supposed to be mounted to the bottom of the desk, but I'll do that once the desk is complete. The desk frame is height adjustable from 23.6 inches to 48.4 inches, which is more variability than I'll ever need. The desk frame is made of steel construction and is rated to support up to 220 pounds. I feel confident the frame can support a desktop, drawer gallery, computer monitors, and other small electronics. Now on to the design of the desktop and drawer gallery. The desktop I designed is cherry veneer with an MDF core. I wanted the desk to be rigidly attached to the frame, so I decided to veneer the MDF to avoid any concerns with wood movement while still offering a solid wood look. The drawer gallery is made of solid cherry with an upper and lower web frame, 4 drawers, a lower skirt, and a subtop. The drawer gallery top is also made of cherry veneer with an MDF core to match the desktop. The inset between the skirt, web frame, subtop, and drawer gallery top are designed to create a layered look with shadow lines synonymous with Greene and Greene style furniture. Alright, enough talk, let's start building. The first thing I'm going to do to build this desk is construct the drawer gallery. I've got these 2 panels which will be the sides of the drawer gallery. I'm going to bring the show face together, have it on edge, and then clamp it together, bring it to the bench, and I'm going to be using a spring joint to glue them together. To make this spring joint, I'm going to be using my 4.5 smoothing plane. The first thing I'm going to do is clean up the joint by taking a couple of passes the full length of the boards. Then I'm going to create a small shallow valley by taking 2 passes from here to here, 2 passes from here to here, and then 2 more passes along the full length. That should give me a nice shallow valley. All right, that ought to have cleaned up the joint. A couple passes here. Couple passes here. Now a couple full-length passes. This may be difficult to capture on camera, but along the ends of the boards, I've got a nice gap-free joint. As I go towards the center of the board, I have a hairline gap that forms. As I tighten the clamp, that gap should disappear. All right, I'm ready for glue up. Well, the panel is glued up. It's nice and flat. There are no gaps. I'll let this cook in the clamps, and I'll cut it to final length and width once it's cured. With my panel out of the clamp, I'm now going to cut my drawer gallery sides down to final length and width, and then create a dado along the back to receive the back of the drawer gallery. The drawer gallery is going to be held together using a lower web frame and an upper web frame. And the pieces are going to be joined together using stub tenons. I'm going to be creating the stub tenons and the corresponding mortises using my Lee FMT Pro. I'll be able to produce these relatively fast. I have the center of the tenon clearly marked out, and that tenon is centered on the jig. The router bit is set to the appropriate depth, and the way this jig works is the base of this router jig rides within or around this template to create either the tenon or the corresponding mortise. The next thing I need to do is attach the web frame to the drawer gallery sides. And to do that, I'm going to be using my domino machine. I want my lower web frame to be lifted up from the bottom of the drawer gallery by 1.25 inches. So I'm going to be using a shim to along the bottom of the drawer gallery to set my domino machine. The upper web frame is going to be flush with the top of the drawer gallery sides, so I can use the tabletop on my multifunctional outfeed assembly table as my reference surface. To make the domino mortises in the ends of my web frame, all I need to do is use my multifunctional outfeed assembly table as a reference surface and plunge to the witness lines. The next thing I need to do is cut the domino mortises for my drawer dividers. I'm using a straight edge to define the outside edge of the drawer dividers, and that's going to be a reference surface for the bottom of my domino. And then I'm going to cut and center the cutter to a witness line. The next thing I need to do is cut the mortises in my dividers. The next thing I need to do is cut the finger joints at the corner of the skirt that will be wrapping around the bottom of the drawer gallery. To do that, I'm going to be cutting the finger joints on the dado sled. I'm going to be using test pieces to fit the joint properly. I have my dado stack raised up to the appropriate height, and my test piece is clamped to my dado sled flush up against the stop block so that I can define the center finger. I'm happy with how this center finger came out, but before cutting the outside fingers on the other test piece, I'm going to go ahead and define the center finger on the actual piece. I've defined the center finger on my skirt, and the next thing I need to do is move over my stop block so that I oversize the outside fingers on my test piece. And the reason is because I'll be using my dial indicator and calipers to fit the joint once I've cut the test piece. As you can see, this center finger does not fit into this center void. In fact, based on my caliper measurement, this center finger is oversized by 15 thousandths of an inch. I'm going to divide by 2, that's 7.5 thousandths of an inch, and I'm going to round up to 8 thousandths of an inch, and that's how much I need to move over my stop block to get this to fit properly. I have the clamp that's holding my fence and stop block loosened. I'm going to move over my fence by 8 thousandths of an inch using my mallet. And then I'm going to lock it down. All right, let's see if it fits. Perfect. A nice friction fit. That's what I'm looking for. I'll go ahead and cut the rest of my pieces. With the skirt to my drawer gallery complete, the next thing I need to do is start work on the subtop to the drawer gallery. And that's going to be made out of solid cherry. What I'm going to do is rip this board in half and then plane it down to a final thickness of 3/8 of an inch thick. So I'm basically using blue painter's tape as a clamp. So the next thing I need to do is flip this around, fold the edge, and apply a small bead of glue. I've removed the blue painter's tape from this thin panel, and now what I'm going to do is clean up this glue edge with a scraper, and that'll get everything nice and flush. I still have a lot to do with the drawer gallery, but the next thing I'm going to shift to is veneering the top to the drawer gallery and the larger desktop. I'm going to do them both. Now my veneering setup has changed a little bit, so let me go ahead and walk you through what I've got. So this is my gluing station and setup. I've got my clamping cauls, which I've wrapped with packing tape so the glue doesn't stick to them. I've got my veneers, I've got my MDF cores, I've got a glue roller and a pan, blue painter's tape, and glue. So here's my glue up process. I'm going to spread glue, put on my veneer, put on my clamping caul, flip it, do the same thing to the other side, put blue painter's tape along the edge, put the whole thing into my vacuum bag, and do the same thing to the second core. Then I'm going to be using my shop vac to evacuate the majority of the air out of the vacuum bag, and then use my vacuum pump to pull the vacuum. The desktop and drawer gallery are really starting to take shape, but there's still a bunch of work left to do. With Greene and Greene style furniture, it's all about the details, and there are going to be a lot of details. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like button or the subscribe button, or both. You can also follow me on Instagram at Alabama Woodworker to get the day-to-day scoop of what's happening in my shop. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.